I have one in the car too. Do you want to check? I mean, I know I have one.
I'll check.
I can grab. I just have to text Shane about. So I mean, you're Shane.
I'm Shane.
Josh about something.
He said he's dealing with a loss? What?
Yeah, his fiance lost her mom. I just paid a condolence call there today. And
Yeah.
she's very upset.
Was she sick for? I think he
She had
mentioned
been
that,
sick
right?
for a while.
Yeah.
Okay, I just have to add one. Let me go to the car and get a pen. Do you need to make a change to something?
Well, I just wanted to write like the Chalk for Justice or Gathering or.
Yeah, let me get that.
And how do you pronounce? Is it Midrashim?
Midrashim.
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 Midrash is singular and Midrashim is plural.
Okay. Do you know his birthday today?
I already talked to him.
Happy birthday!
Hey, thanks.
That's
I asked
awesome.
him how it feels to be 26.
Some sort of hood? Oh, you know what that is? That's probably you could roll up your jacket and put that in the back.
There's a hood. No, it's not. I see it's a bag for the jacket.
For the jacket, yeah, because it's lightly.
So is this a detached one?
Yes.
Oh, I don't keep that on there. It's funny, my mom didn't say anything. We went to lunch this morning and that's what she sees.
Test 1 2. Check check.
Easy.
Yeah, she gave me this shirt and this jacket. I
Awesome.
don't ever go clothes shopping. I wear, like 2 pair of pants.
What time's your Torah study?
It's live on YouTube. Okay, so if someone goes on YouTube now, they'll see it up. I just got the still in the audio. So I'm a little distracted. Would you just ask to change the website so you can look now? It just has a couple words like Shaw's Days Off. And it threw off some people. Thank you. Shane, can I use that when you're done?
Yes. There you go.
Get it up in their
Mark,
face.
you good?
Don't let them take it from your hands. Just be like, no, right here.
I paid a visit to Josh and his fiance. She's the one who just lost her mom. She was very, very upset. Understandably.
Oh, when is
Can I grab this for a second?
yeah? When is the Hebrews?
I don't know when the next one is. I don't think we have one, do we?
I had it scheduled.
March 8th.
March 8th? Is that still happening? You can cancel it if you don't want to do it, but I don't don't think there's been any.
Yet being the key word.
Yeah, I don't think there's been any promotion of it yet, so no one's saved the date.
Scheduled for February. We didn't think bowling was quite the thing
No.
during Omicron.
Yeah. I've heard. So are you gonna? Is she gonna send something out?
I need to call the bowling alley tomorrow.
Okay.
Find out, make sure we can do it there.
Okay. Sandra. Sandra Michael. She's on there. Do you need this back? Yeah, go ahead. Hi, Carla.
Shine on me.
So it's hot, it's ready to go. Let's keep the fan down. Okay.
Okay. What do you want to open with?
It feels weird without that thing now.
Yeah, I know. That's nice.
I feel like we're exposed.
I know.
Stairway to Heaven? That's a good opening.
Yeah, well,
That's what I told. Yeah, I said helter skelter after this week.
Not Fade Away.
Right.
Listen.
Knocking at heaven's door.
I got this dude who wants to learn Freebird, like the solos and
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
I've
Awesome.
never been listening to like even just doing the broader noise. So I'm like back at woodshed.
Yeah.
Just going,
Cool.
I don't learn to do that. I mean, I can take it,
Yeah.
and I'll never be like the guys who've done
Oh, yeah.
it once, but it's like you can learn off the tutorial.
Yeah.
He says no questions.
Mm-hmm.
But
and these will be hot, so you just talk and.
You got it. The hardest thing is to not shake hands.
I know. Do you want to just take a seat, or do you want me to do a quick?
Whatever you like.
All right, let me do a quick one. Everybody, we're going to start in about 5 minutes, but I just want to introduce Chief Gonzalez, Jennifer Gonzalez. She's going to offer a few words in the beginning. So be nice. Be extra nice. Okay, I'll call you. Oh, so she's talking for a little bit. So we should still be done by 7. Okay.
I was thinking of doing this. I think the kids, you know, that sell on Elohim, just to open with. People don't know it.
How does that one go? What's the name of the film? Not really. No, you can
It's
start.
upbeat, you know. When I reach out to you,
Yeah, you can start with that. Yeah.
you know, I don't know if you want to say anything. It's one of the.
I'm gonna
values.
say something after you.
Well, I just meant about the song. 'Cause I'm like,
Yeah.
it's up there though. It's
Yeah.
selling Elohim.
It's the top left.
Oh right, just selling
Far
Elohim.
left. Far
I
left.
see it.
Like your politics. Bunch. I'm getting better. Maybe I'll surpass you one of these days as the resident comic.
It's not a competition.
I know. But, hey, Robert.
Hey, thank you.
He's the birthday boy.
I'm a birthday boy. Skip around.
I said 26.
You said 30.
First I said 31.
How insulting is that? Yeah, I told him that makes you feel like half a man. 30.
Check. Here, this is for Jeremy. He's probably wanted to do a check. There's my vocal mic, and turn this off here. Check. There's that one. And let's try this one, the guitar. Hey, hello, Shabbat Shalom. Thank you. Yeah, 29. chorus one more time. You can join. When I reach out to you and you to me, we become B'Tselem Elohim. When we share our hopes and our dreams, each one of us B'Tselem Elohim. Okay, we gotta just do Hine Matov, just to get everybody. Hine Matov Manayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov Manayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov, Hine Matov, Ya la 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 la. Hine Matov, Hine Matov, la 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 la. Hine Matov Manayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov Manayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov Manayim, Ya la 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 la. Hine Matov Manayim, Ya la 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 la. Hine Matov Manayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov Manayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad.
Shabbat Shalom. Good Shabbos to everyone. I hope you've had a good week. There's no getting around it. This has been a pretty brutal week in this country, in this world, and in this town. Starting with Russia's invasion of Ukraine and ending yesterday with hundreds of anti-Semitic flyers and leaflets littering Old Town Napa in this area around Fuller Park. It's very disturbing, it's unsettling. We're going to talk about it a little bit later in the service. But I want to start by offering our thoughts and prayers to the people of Ukraine during this very, very difficult time, during this war. And also for all those who were offended, upset, and some even traumatized by what happened just yesterday here in our town of Napa. In that vein, we have a very special guest tonight, the Chief of Napa Police Department, Jennifer Gonzalez. I woke up yesterday, the very first call I got was from board member Shane Soldinger, about 8:15 or 8:30, alerting me to what had happened. And not 10 minutes later, I got a call from Chief Gonzalez letting me know what had happened, giving me a little bit more detail, and offering whatever support she could, not only through the department, but through her own efforts. And she actually came here twice on her own personally to make sure everything was okay. I've known Chief Gonzalez when you were a captain ever since I've been here, about 4.5 years. I know it's been a few months, but congratulations again on your promotion, your election, your appointment to Chief. In a very short period of time, Chief Gonzalez has shown herself to be an activist, to be a strategic thinker, and to really be a leader in this community. And I think we need leadership now more than ever during this very polarizing and hate-filled time. So Chief Gonzalez has offered to offer a few words to us tonight, and I'd like to invite Chief Gonzalez to come up and share them with us. And by the way, I just want to add, when you speak extemporaneously, you don't always cover everything that you thought about ahead of time. But Chief Gonzalez, Jennifer, is not just someone I looked up to as a leader, but someone who I also consider a friend. So I'm really glad you're with us tonight.
I'm vaccinated, is this okay? Okay. I'm trying to, the whole vaccination thing, we're in this together. So I am vaccinated, but I'm going to take this off just at least so you can hear me clearly. So hopefully that's okay. If not, if you want me to, I can put it back on. So thank you to Rabbi Goldstein and the members of this congregation for allowing me to come speak with you today. My name is Jennifer Gonzalez. I'm just Jennifer. You don't have to worry about chief and formalities. I'm still learning that process, and so I'm way more comfortable with just being Jennifer. So thank you for letting me have a moment of your time during this service. I am here to discuss the activities specifically of the morning of February 24th, And I want to make sure that we give you information and give you facts so that you have that information you can share with your family and loved ones and neighbors. At about 7:55 in the morning or so, the Napa Central Dispatch Center, our police dispatch center, received phone calls and several reports of plastic bags that were containing anti-Semitic propaganda, leaflets, flyers, pamphlets that were located in the neighborhood near Fuller Park. So the side streets in that area, including Elm Street, Oak Street, and Pine Street and the others. One caller did advise that a bag was located on their property of their home. And so that was a little different than some of them that were just found out on bags on the sidewalks and roadways. Once we learned of the contents of the bags, the officers responded there and looked into the bags. Once they discovered what the actual material was, additional resources were sent here to check on the facility, and then also making contact with the rabbi. So we shared information with Rabbi Goldstein so that he could share it with the congregation to ensure that everyone was aware, again, not in the sense of creating panic, but to make sure that people are informed. So the Napa police officers were able to collect the items and have asked neighbors for video surveillance to see if there's anything they can get to help with the investigation of who delivered this material and what is the motive of the delivery, right? Is it, we'll just leave it, we're there. We are aware of similar incidents around the Bay Area that have occurred, and certainly, of course, different tragedies that have happened across the nation and around the world. So we're looking to see if there's any connection to the other Bay Area incidents, or if this is an isolated incident. Again, we don't want to make assumptions, and we want to really rely on facts. And so if there are individuals that can provide more information, we encourage that. Any witnesses that can contact us, we would appreciate that, and they'll get them in contact with the investigator. And then any witnesses that are not comfortable speaking directly to the police, because we certainly understand there might be some folks that are not comfortable with that. We have an anonymous system called Tip 411, and you can either get on the web-based system to make a tip, or you can text a tip on Tip 411. And so we'll make sure that Rabbi Goldstein has that contact information in case someone would rather go through Tip 411 and provide anonymous information. I do personally take these incidents seriously, and my officers are investigating this case, and if they are able to meet the requirements for prosecution of a hate crime, then we will work with the DA's office specifically to see if there's anything that can be done for prosecution purposes. And again, I use caution with if, because we need to assume that First Amendment rights are protected as well as individual safety rights are protected. So we're in the middle making sure that the investigation is done completely. So it is vital for our success as a community to ensure that all members feel safe, regardless of if they're here to feel, to live, work, or play in Napa. And so we want to make sure that this community, not just the Jewish community, feels safe. And so that was one of the reasons I asked if we could connect and really just give you a face to the name and make sure that you're able to meet me and that you know that I'm here to learn from you, and I appreciate your time here and letting me come here. I also want to make sure that you know that at this time, there are no known threats to the individuals who received these letters, nor are there any known threats to Congregation Beth Shalom. And so that is important for me to tell you that, because at this point we don't have anything that would identify as a specific threat. And while I believe you used the term offensive, right? While the material may be offensive, and that might be an understatement for some, that at this point we do not have any known specific threats. And in addition to that, my dispatchers and the patrol officers that you see in the black and white cars and the uniforms, they are aware of this incident. We have shared it with the Napa PD staff, and they have been directed to increase patrol in the area to help deter any, related future crimes. So you might see patrol cars going by, you might see them in the neighborhoods. That doesn't mean that there's an active incident going on. We've just asked for additional presence to help deter crime. And if you see them, feel free to say hi. They're just the patrol officers out there. So you're welcome to say hi and engage with them at any time. And if you have a need, by all means flag them down. They're happy to help you. So But please don't be alerted if you see them out here during service, because we've given them the schedule so that they're aware of it as well. And we will also continue to speak with Rabbi Goldstein, and if there are any updates or developments that we can share with him, we certainly will, and then he will pass it on through the congregation as our conduit. So I am absolutely grateful and elated to have the relationship that I have with Rabbi Goldstein. He said 4.5 years. I didn't realize, I think with COVID, we're kind of in dog years now. So I did not realize the time frame, but I am grateful, absolutely grateful for the relationship. From the second he got here, he was reaching out to the police department. He's one of our chaplains. He's very trusted within the police department, and I'm grateful for that. So thank you. And I know he's done much more for federal law enforcement over the years as well.
You
So
guys are more fun.
well, we might be a little more fun, yeah. Thank you. And, you know, the other thing is that he gives us a perspective as well, because he does bring his federal law enforcement work and his service. He brings a perspective to the police department that's much needed, so that's also appreciated. To change gears on you a little bit, and not to take away from the incidents of yesterday, but I kind of have this shameless plug, as we talked about earlier, of an upcoming training opportunity. And I know that through your electronic communication, you've been informed of it, but I certainly would like to impress upon the importance of training and perishable skills, as we like to see them in law enforcement, in that we can receive information and we can practice it once, but if we don't maintain things, we tend to lose those skills. And that comes from driving skills to language skills to whatever they may be, especially when we're teaching youth. We certainly know that we have to practice, right? So one of the training opportunities that's coming up is on March 24th. CBS will be hosting a Run, Hide, Fight training. I believe that you've done this online as well. And this one is in person?
This one's
This
gonna
in
be
person. And so I'd like to first thank you for letting us come to your home and provide this training. It might be very different for those who took the online course. It's different when it's in person. I think we've gotten accustomed and almost built a tolerance for Zoom meetings and trainings, where now it's just like TV, right? We're just watching it, and it's like, okay, it was TV and we move on. But when it's in person, and it's certainly in your home, it becomes a little different, and the feeling is different. So I appreciate the invitation to allow us to come and provide this training. We will be presenting and working with participants to identify threats that are commonly presented during critical incidents involving weapons. And so it doesn't mean it's exactly how it will happen, but we want to give scenarios so that folks can start thinking about ways to protect yourself if there was ever a crisis. And I am a firm believer that whether it's a threat to our safety in a natural disaster type manner, or it's a man-made critical incident, that it's imperative that we practice it and that we are prepared for it, not for a sake of paranoia, but for the ability for us to respond in a calm fashion and really help each other out. So whether it's an earthquake and you're prepared for an earthquake and your family has ways to communicate and reach each other if telecommunication systems go down and we can't call people, and things like we've seen in the wildfires, when towers were burned and we couldn't talk, and all of a sudden we're muted, do you have other ways to connect with your family? And some of that training will be reinforced on March 24th, so I appreciate the invite, and I would encourage those who are contemplating going to join us for the evening. I believe it's from 6 to 8?
6 to 8.
6 to 8, thank you. And so I would definitely encourage that, but I think it's very important that we can be prepared and just hope that it never comes, right? That we never need the training, but that we're ready if there's ever a crisis, again, whether it's a natural disaster or a man-made problem. So, in closing, I certainly would like to thank you again for welcoming me tonight, and for those of you in the community that have reached out I've been here for 7 years, so over the 7 years, the relationships that we've built, I'm very grateful for that. And I don't take it lightly, tonight's invitation. I certainly understand the importance and the magnitude of the incident yesterday that occurred and how it impacts individuals. But I also appreciate that you're letting me take time tonight during your time to celebrate as a community. And so thank you for allowing me during this time. All right. Yes.
Yeah, go ahead. We do need to start services, and we need to let her get home, but if you have a quick question, go ahead.
Could you tell me again the name of the group? I want to Google them. Do you know if anybody's looked online for them?
The investigators have that. I do not have that information. I'm sorry. They showed me leaflets in the pamphlets, but I left it to my investigators to take that.
The name of the group?
I'm sorry, I do not have that.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about this a little bit later in the service. The Anti-Defamation League has a whole webinar devoted to this next week that we sent out.
March 3rd?
Yeah, March 3rd.
Okay, we'll see you on that then.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Are we having Sunday school on site Sunday morning here?
Boy, I have a million things going on in my head. Yes, we are.
I feel like I'd like the police department to be aware of that.
They are. I don't know if they'll be able to have a car here, but we do have an armed guard, Mark, and Mark is always here on every single Sunday morning.
And they were given the calendar, the officers were
Yeah.
given the calendar that you have as well.
Let me thank you again. We are very fortunate to have a leader and a police chief like Jennifer here, and you're a friend to our community. You're always welcome here, and we know you have our backs.
Thank you.
And just a quick additional plug, at some point when COVID subsides somehow, we do want to have a more formal program where all these questions can be asked. Tonight, Jennifer just wanted to show her support and give us a little more detail, but we're going to have an actual program in the months ahead where you can ask all kinds of questions of Chief Gonzalez, and we're going to meet and talk about what that'll look like.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, we are going to now begin our Shabbat service with the lighting of our candles. So I'm going to invite up Ella Nelson, who just returned from about a week in the deep south, and she made it back in one piece. Page 120.
You never know if the magic candles are going to light. I really feel we buy trick candles here.
We might need to invest in some different candles.
These are regular Shabbat candles. What are you talking about? But I wasn't going to burn my finger. But we'll do another one. Thought it was only outside. This is ridiculous.
There you go.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbos.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Page 142, we're going to continue with Shalom Alechem, a song about peace. God knows we need peace in this world on this after this week. Page 142.
Shalom Alechem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Zeichem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Kadosh Baruch Hu.
We turn to page 146 for the Baruch Hu. If you are able, please rise.
La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Page 149, please join me at the top of the page as we read together the English translation. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai Hama'ariv Arabvim. Page 151. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Mahuto Leolam Va'ed. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavacha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha v'derech uv'shokbecha uv'kumecha ukshartam la'od al yadecha v'hayu latotafot beinenecha uktavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha Lema'an tizkaru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'yitem kedoshim le'elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem le'elohim ani Adonai Elohechem.
Page 157. Please join me at the top of the page. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together. Page 158.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh, mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh. Moshe u'Miriam, Zelianu ve'amaru, Zelianu ve'amaru, Adonai, Yimloch le'olam va'ed. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh, mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh.
Page 161. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, hapores sukat shalom, aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael v'al Yerushalayim.
Haskivenu Adonai Eloheinu b'shalom, b'shalom. V'hamidenu shomreinu b'chayim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Sukat shlomecha. Amen. Shelter us beneath your wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us, God, wrong from right. Amen. 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 Amen.
Please take a moment now for your own silent thoughts and prayers.
יישא גוי אל גוי חרב, לא ילמדו עוד מלחמה. לא יישא גוי אל גוי חרב, לא ילמדו עוד מלחמה. לא יישא גוי אל גוי חרב, לא ילמדו עוד מלחמה. לא יישא גוי אל גוי חרב, לא ילמדו עוד מלחמה. גוי אל גוי חרב, לא ילמדו עוד מלחמה. לא יישא גוי אל גוי חרב, לא ילמדו עוד מלחמה. שבת שלום, שלום, שבת, שבת, שלום, שלום,
We pause now to think of those in need of healing on this Shabbat, healing of body, healing of spirit, and healing of heart. And we ask God to bestow the bracha, the blessing of refuah shlema, full and complete healing on the following members of our congregation or those known and loved by those in our community. Lynn Mikulski, Ilana Massey, Kevin Brackett, Ginny Sims, Eileen Conklin, Nancy Jeanette, Michelle Camisia, Joshua Hyman, Dylan Bonnick, Diane Butler, Elsa Loach, Elena Goldman, Mark Charney, Michael Edwards, Jesse Friedman, and Scott Stern. And if anyone has a name they wish to share, I invite you to share it with us in person here or at home on your screen. The Mishaberach is on page 511.
Mishaberach Avoteinu Mikor HaBracha Me'imotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishaberach Imotenu Mikor HaBracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Shabbat Shalom, good Shabbos again to everyone. As I mentioned at the outset of services, this has been a very difficult week on a multiplicity of levels. And I know that many, if not most of us, are glued to our TV screens watching what's going on in Europe, and we're very concerned about Ukraine. But I wanted to focus for a few minutes on something much closer to home, and of course that's what Chief Gonzalez talked about and what I opened with, which was what happened right here in Napa, the anti-Semitic propaganda that was distributed in the hundreds, right just a few blocks from here, including on the doorstep of one of our congregants. Now, the last time I had an open sort of a town hall was 2 years ago, a little more than 2 years ago, after the massacre at the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh. And that was an anti-Semitic event of a completely different magnitude, obviously. But this was an anti-Semitic event that occurred much closer to home, right here in our own backyard. And while it didn't result in violence or bloodshed, it certainly resulted in a lot of feelings of being unsettled, of being upset, and a lot of complicated emotions. Some people felt fear. The woman I spoke with, who's a member of our congregation, who had a leaflet right on her doorstep, felt targeted. So some people have felt fear. Some have felt even trauma. Some people have felt anger. I know that's what I felt yesterday and today and still feel. Rage at the perpetrators of this event, both here and around the Bay Area and in several parts of the country. And a lot of us, whether they're fearful or angry, have felt feelings of helplessness. What can we do about it? Is law enforcement going to ever catch and prosecute the people who did this? So there are a lot of emotions and a lot of complicated emotions that many of us are feeling. So I just wanted to take a few minutes, and Gordon's going to have the mic and come out among you to let you vent, to let you offer your thoughts, your observations, your concerns about what has just happened. And as a community, hopefully we can move past this in a stronger way. Carla? And those of you at home, you won't be able to see everyone in the congregation, but you will be able to hear them.
Hi. I just want to know a little, if you can share anything more specific, because what they've said is anti-Semitic propaganda, but exactly what does that mean?
I'm sorry, exactly.
What does that mean? I mean, what was... Yeah, what was said in the flyers?
Most of the flyers that I'm aware of were of a uniform nature, and they listed a whole bunch of figures. I don't know whether they were Jewish or not, but claiming that they were Jewish and that they were behind COVID. It was sort of a conspiracy theory document. There may have been others, but that's the one I saw here in Napa, and the one that I've heard has been distributed all over the country. The Anti-Defamation League has posted a lot of information about this, about the group that they think has done this. Their main leader is a guy from Petaluma. It's called the Goyim Defense League. And we sent out an email earlier today, and we'll be sending it out again next week. But there's a webinar that I'm going to be on, that Chief Gonzalez is going to be on, and I'd encourage all of you to join next, whatever March 3rd is. I think it's next Wednesday. That the ADL is leading, and they're going to specifically be talking about what has happened in Napa and around the country, and specifically about this particular organization, the Goyim Defense League. So far, no violence has resulted from this, but it has certainly been coordinated, organized, and it's very unsettling. Ellen?
As you just heard, I just returned from Alabama, and I went to a special meeting at the 16th Street Baptist Church, where in 1963, 4 black little girls were killed by a bomb. And the former Senator Doug Jones was there, and the audience was made up 50-50 of people of color, and 50 that were white, 50% were white. But they were talking about racism that still exists in the South, particularly in Birmingham. But more important, he said, is that we really need to support the Jewish community. He said, and he brought up Colleyville, Texas, and what happened there. And he said, it doesn't matter where you are in the country, this anti-Semitism is on the rise. And as the Jews have supported the black community, and people of color, they need to support the Jewish community. So I bring you news from Birmingham, Alabama.
Thank you. You know, I would just add to that, I think after an incident like this, and then David, you're next, we don't only need the support of non-Jews, we need to support each other. And this is a time that whether you're observant or not, whether you're an atheist or a believer or not, if your Jewishness is important to you in any way, shape, or form, this is a time to join the synagogue if you haven't joined. And there are thousands of Jews in Napa Valley who have not yet affiliated with CBS. And if you're a member, and if you've only come once a year for the high holidays, this is a time to come more. Even if you're not religious, even if you don't believe in God, even if you don't like the rabbi, this is a time to support one another. Because if we don't do it for ourselves, nobody's going to do it for us. But of course, we need allies, we need partners, we need people like Chief Gonzalez who are going to work with us to fight against this kind of hate. David?
Yes, I just wanted to point out that the whole point of these terror is to instill fear. And if we give in to that fear, then they win. This Goyim Defense League or whatever mashuganas are out there. It is very important and very heartwarming to see so many people here at the synagogue, and I hope that we have as many people tomorrow and at the demonstration. But we have to remember that if we cower in fear, they win. And really, when we say, the training is going to be run, hide, and fight, all three are equally important, and we have to be ready to run, to hide, and to fight. And while we are responsible for our own safety, and we have to take personal responsibility for it, as the rabbi correctly pointed out, reaching out to allies, whether it be our neighbors, institutions, we have to let them know that this attack on us is an attack on all civility.
Well said, thank you. And these trainings, and you're going to get more information about March 24th, these trainings are critically important. We had a really great turnout for the last ones we did that were online, but this in-person training on March 24th is really, really vital, so please save that date and keep an eye out for more information. We have time for maybe one or two more thoughts or comments, if there are any. Yeah. And just hold it up to your, yeah.
Okay. This just came to mind that even as our society has changed and our world has changed, the hate for us has not changed. And it's just kind of interesting to me that as we've evolved as people, it kind of evolves with us, but it doesn't go away. And it's just kind of interesting to me.
Yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate that. And, maybe I don't want to close on a down note, but I want to close on a realistic note. Anti-Semitism has been around almost as long as there have been Jews. And some of you who know me well know that in my career, I have often come down hard on the Jewish leadership for being too reactionary and too alarmist and labeling events anti-Semitic when I didn't think they warranted that. But times have changed, and I think clearly, based on what we've learned from the ADL and FBI, we're in a period of uptick. And anti-Semitism ebbs and flows. Anti-Semitism reached its zenith during the Holocaust, but anti-Semitism was around even before Christianity was around. There was Greek anti-Semitism. There was biblical anti-Semitism. So to be realistic, as idealistic as I want to be, I don't think anti-Semitism is going to go away. I don't think we can educate it out of people, though we can do our best with our friends and our neighbors and our coworkers to try to change their thinking. But we need to be vigilant, we need to be aware, and we need to be strong, whatever that means. And there are lots of different ways of being strong and of being vigilant and aware. So come to the trainings, support the community, support one another, learn more about our wonderful tradition. And as David correctly said, if we cower in fear, if we recoil, if we don't support our community, if we don't attend our events, they win. And I don't want them to win. Thank you. We continue on page 586 with the Aleinu. Please rise.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הרצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. I have the honor of inviting up board member, where are you, Shane? Shane Soldinger, to share some important announcements with you tonight. And significantly, I think just by coincidence, Shane is not only a board member, he's the chair of our safety committee. And he has devoted lots of time and effort into helping to make our congregation and our facility a safer place.
Shabbat Shalom. So the announcements this week, starting tomorrow, join Rabbi Goldstein. He'll be hosting a Torah study online and in person here at CBS. That's at 10:30 a.m. And then tomorrow afternoon, in light of what we were talking about, there's a great show of support that was organized by the Rainbow Action Network. And so join the Rainbow Action Network and CBS for Chalk for Justice, and it's really a gathering of support for the Jewish community here, and that's going to be from 12:30 to 1:30, and I believe that's scheduled to be right outside on Elm Street. Yeah, so it'd be great if we could all make it there, and it's a really heartwarming show of support. Sunday, we have religious school taking place at 9:30. And we have also a Shorashim story time at 9:45 here on Sunday as well. On Sunday, again, the 27th at 5:30 p.m. over Zoom, join our cooking class with Chef Cynthia, and you'll receive a box before the cooking class with all the ingredients that you'll need to make a fantastic 3-course meal featuring foods such as Sicilian tuna spread and spiced olives. Sounds delicious. March 2nd at 7:15 for the second portion of the Online with Rabbi Goldstein for an engaging and interactive seminar in which we will explore several interesting, unusual, and even bizarre Midrashim, rabbinic literary interpretations on various stories from the Torah and the Jewish tradition. You will be enthralled and perhaps shocked by some of the creative and at times outlandish riffs by the rabbis on their sacred texts, holidays, and practices. Is this true?
Yeah.
All right.
Believe it or not.
Okay. Well, let's tune in. It should be great. On the 4th, next week, we have Family Shabbat starting at 6 p.m. With religious school students leading portions of the service with Rabbi Goldstein and Gordon. And finally, it looks like on March 8th, we're looking forward to another Hebrews gathering at the bowling alley hosted by our president, Mark Samrick. So come out to bowl and or just socialize and RSVP online. I believe that information is going out next week, so that should be pretty fun. And we'd like to give some warm birthday wishes this week. Mr. Gordon, happy birthday today.
Thank you.
Yes. Also to Max Altman, Serena Cerniglia, Sebastian Honig, Deborah Smith, James Woolery, Judy Feiner, Deborah Grove, Ross Rubin, and Rosanna Turbo. It's a busy birthday week. And happy anniversary to David and Mary Rabb. I think that's all we got. Thank you. Yeah.
Happy birthday, Gordon.
Thanks.
How does it feel to be able to order a drink at a bar and not get carded?
Finally.
Finally, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I want to say before we switch gears, this is the first Shabbat that Zach and Lauren have been here as husband and wife. So I also want to say Mazel Tov to Zach and Lauren, who were married last Sunday in Southern California. We watched it online. It was a beautiful wedding, and we are going to celebrate their marriage properly, I think, over the summer, as soon as we can safely gather and have food and wine. So Mazel Tov. We are going to shift gears now as we reach the end of our service and think of those who are no longer with us, those who have died both recently and in seasons past. On this Shabbat, we think of and honor Margaret Mary Oliveto, Ahuva Ben David, Dr. I. Harold Shevlin, Isadora Smith, Elliot Kapchan, Sanford Rubin, Stuart Paley, Bonnie Kapeloff Mamie, Dr. Ian Miller, Jimmy Rabb, Sandra Somick, Michael Gordon, Larry Elson, Bill Chiat, Arnold Trombler, Erica Cornelison, Gladys Shubin, Richard Magano, Clark Smith, Stephanie Rabb Axner, David Ernesto Kaplan, Pat Pate, Annette Goldberg, Maggie Sherman, and Sandra Banco Fichtenberg. We also remember and honor the Yartsites, the anniversaries of the deaths of Pearl Threadgill, Eileen Herman, Irving B. Tapper, Lois Levin, Abram Jeanette, Harry Peel, Anna Jelinek, Marvin Eisendrath, Helen Costin, Ray Kaplan, Isadore Finkelstein, Mildred Levy, Margaret Mary Oliveto, and Jack Kopel. And if anyone has a name they wish to add, please do so.
John Loden and Tom Nelson.
Sandy Storm. The Mourner's Kaddish is on page 598. Please rise. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shmei rabbah be'alma divra cherotei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayachon uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael ba'agala uvizman kariv v'yimru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevorach le'alam u'lamei almaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadlal v'yitalel v'yitalal shmei dekudsha b'richu Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran be'alma v'yimru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shmaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'mrumav hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. May the source of peace grant peace to all those in mourning and comfort to all those who are bereaved. And let us all say, amen. Please be seated. We have a final song, and then we're going to do Kiddush and Motzi.
Okay. You said be strong, be strong.
Yeah.
So I thought of a song.
There's a great biblical line, Chazak ve'amatz, be strong and of good courage. That's what Moses says to his people before he dies.
There you go.
Is that what you're going to sing?
Just like we rehearsed.
Oh, okay.
Likes to pretend like we didn't put hours into it during the day, you know. We have come from near and far to raise our voice in song. And the more we join in the refrain, the more we feel strong. Chazak, Chazak, Benit Chazek. There is a power
it shapes the rest of our lives. For when we return each year, we find a truth we can't deny. Be strong, let us strengthen one another. Be strong, let us celebrate our lives. Be strong, let us strengthen one another. Chazak, chazak, v'nit chazek. Be strong, let us strengthen one another. Be strong, let us celebrate our lives. Be strong, let us strengthen one another. Chazak, chazak, v'nit chazek. One more verse. As we sing, we link ourselves to those who came before, and we're one with all those yet to come. Our strength, it will endure. Be strong, let us celebrate each other. Be strong, let us celebrate our lives. Be strong, let us strengthen one another. Chazak, chazak, v'nit chazek. Chazak, chazak, v'nit chazek. V'nit chazek.
Thank you. It does sound like we actually rehearsed earlier today.
Yeah, almost.
Well, what better way to be strong than to fill our bodies with good things, like good food and good wine. So we're going to do the Kiddush and the Motzi together, so I invite you to please rise and to join me and Gordon as we first, the wine first. As we first, means I'm hungry.
You've now embarrassed the challah.
I've embarrassed the challah, right. We'll cover the challah until it's time.
Okay.
Please join us in the Kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Amen.
L'chaim. Now we'll get to the Motzi.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. B'tei avon.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat. Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shalom, Shabbat, Shalom, Shabbat, Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
I'm Ruth Dennis.
Pleasure.
I just decided to join
Oh, great. How long have you been in Napa?
30 years.
Oh my God. I'm not going to ask you what motivated you to join now, but I'm glad that you did.
I heard you on the radio.
Oh, I did a little radio thing. Yeah, KCBS. Thank you.